Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't just a question. This was a threat to the entire case. When Advocate Mshololo asked Brigadier Gininda whether he'd ever been accused of beating suspects or forcing confessions, Advocate Baloyi jumped in instantly. Ask yourself, why stop an answer, unless the answer is dangerous?
Continue with the same document, the same transcript that is before you. We are now going to page 33.
Yes,
line number 15 to 20, my lord. Page 33, line number 15 to 20.
So it reads as follows, my lord. It says, my lord, so after the warning that was given to him in terms of section 35, established as to what he wants to do, it was clear, my lord, that he is prepared to talk to me without any attorney, and he was, or he did not choose the right to remain silent, my lord, and he did not elect to remain silent. Rather, my lord, he, I can't, it says intervene.
Yes, okay, thank you. This is accused number 2 you were referring to as him here, am I correct?
No, I'll have to go back and check, my lord.
Oh, okay, maybe.
I can't say by reading this paragraph, I can't say this relates to accused number 2 or 1. I'll have to look at the line of questioning.
Let's start on line number 8.
8.
8, line number 8 on the same page. You see under Mr. Baloyi? Yes, just before we get to that, what led to you going to Carltonville on the 18th of June 2020?
Yes.
Can you recall now? This is the incident which took place on the 18th, and the state was asking you regarding the incident that took place on the 18th of June 2022.
Yes, I do recall, my lord.
And your response, if I can also read it into the record so that you can refresh your memory. It was the fact that Sergeant Mohane informed me that they will be going there for other investigations, but also in relation to certain alibi that he may have given them in relation to this matter. By he, I think you meant accused number 2.
That's correct, my lord. I do recall that.
Brigadier, you yourself, in your own words, in line number 15, you are referring to warnings. Line number 15, my lord. So after the warning that was given to him in terms of section 35, you say that line?
Yes, I do.
Yes. And all the paragraph, the content of the paragraph, wherein the accused also made a selection of choice. Am I correct if I read this paragraph?
No. Where do I refer to your paragraph, my lord? I see, because that's not what I see. I see. My response says, my lord, so after the warning that was given to him in terms of section 35, I established as to what he wants to do. It was clear, my lord, that he is prepared to talk to me without an attorney, and he was, or he did not choose the right to remain silent. My lord, he did not elect to remain silent, rather, and then there was intervention. So
okay.
I don't see anything that refers to paragraph of warnings here.
No, don't worry, I'll take you step by step, Brigadier. Don't rush. On line number 18, or maybe let's start 17, says, it was clear, my lord, that he is prepared to talk to me without an attorney, and he did not choose the right to remain silent. Those are the 2 choices that were made by the accused.
Yes, we agree, my lord.
Then I'm still going back to the same format that we introduced when I started the cross-examination. The choice, it's a constitutional right that was chosen by the accused. That one of electing to talk to you without an attorney.
No.
That's the choice that was made by the accused. Then my question is, from this evidence that you testified about, was this the election made by accused number 2 recorded?
No, my lord, I dealt with this aspect, really, because you get formal and informal interview. There has never been a situation when police officers question somebody, they will start writing a warning statement or a warning form. There was an interview in terms of Section 35 where his rights were read to him. He made response, which I've summarized. When you talk about rights, my lord, even when people are arrested on daily basis on the street, nowhere do police officers start writing warning statements. They will give them their rights, take them into custody, and then the formality starts there. That's what I've explained over and over again. There is no situation, this is nothing unique.
Can you allow interpretation, please?
I will, I'm almost done. There is nowhere, my lord, where I've never seen an instance. Personally, in my, almost 8 years in the police, I've never embarked on a situation where I go and arrest the person and I'm already sitting with a notice of rights where I must record what I'm telling him and the warning statement. I've never seen one doing that, and definitely I've never done that. That's not how it's done, my lord, in the police. Furthermore, my lord, sorry, counsel. Furthermore, my lord, it should be clear that my interaction with both accused 1 and 2, when one was trying to establish as to whether they are prepared to make these confessions, or when they were talking to me to say, they want to make this confession and obviously meeting the requirements, that was a preliminary stage. The formality, which I think it's what the questions of counsel constantly goes there, lies with the officers who documented the confessions. Those are the relevant people who formally took the confessions.
Thank you, Brigadier, for that. But all I wanted to hear from you is whether the election of choice that was made by the accused was recorded. It's clear that it was not recorded. Let's stop it there.
No,
it's fine.
No, recorded where, my lord? Because I've explained to counsel. Because when counsel says it's not recorded, it's not true. I've indicated various documents where I've made reference of this. The only document where she and I are on the same page is that this 3M she referred me to was not used. If the question is in relation to that, yes, it was not used, and I gave reasons as to why. But to say it was not recorded because it's a general statement, then that is incorrect.
And furthermore, on the same paragraph, which is between line number 15 to line number 20, we are also referring to the warning that was given to him in terms of Section 35. You see that?
Yes, I saw it,
line number
my
15 and 16.
Yes, I'm seeing it, my lord.
Okay. Which rights were you referring to in terms of Section 35 then? Which warnings? Because you are saying the warning that was given to him in terms of Section 35. Which warnings?
A right to remain silent, a right not to give self-incriminating evidence, the consequences of doing such, the right to an attorney, the right to have one appointed on his behalf if he cannot afford one, a right not to be compelled to make admissions or confessions, a right to be detained in an environment that is suitable with the human condition, and a right to challenge the legality of his arrest if it says that it's unlawful and to be discharged from such detention, if the law such detects, my lord.
And there is no proof that those rights were explained to the accused because there is no document recorded for the interview that these are the rights that were explained by myself to the accused, and I signed and the accused signed to confirm or to acknowledge that the rights have been explained to him. Accused number 2.
Yeah, my lord, with greatest respect, I've answered counsel on this part many times. In the diary that I documented, and I refer to this document, it is clearly indicated that Section 35, constitutional rights were given to the accused. And I've explained over and over again, my lord, that the formality, it's a procedure, it's not my doing. The formality of SAP 14A exists in the holding cells. Every police officer who arrests and detains people, they will only issue the notice of rights formally in the holding cells, and that is the only document where the person who gives the rights will sign and the accused will also sign. There is no prescribed document that the ACPS give to members to go and issue on the street and people signed as and when they are arrested. It's a 14A, SAP 14A, which you find in the holding cells. If the insinuation is that there should have been a document that is signed when he was interviewed here, my lord, there is no such document that exists or prescribed by the police.
Okay. Thank you, Brigadier. Do you agree with me, Brigadier, that at that time when you had this interview with accused number 2, he was a suspect?
Yes, was a suspect, a person of interest in relation to this matter, my lord. I do agree.
And the form which I've referred to earlier on, which is SAP S3M, says it must be completed when whether the interview is between the suspect or an accused person.
No, that's not what it says, my lord. That's absolutely not correct. That's not what this form says. And I would like to read it, my lord, so that I'm not seen to be arguing with counsel. Paragraph 1, subsection A says the station commander must consult with the prosecutor on circumstances in which the prosecutor requires that a warning statement of a suspect be obtained. That's the essence of it. There was no directive from me by the prosecutor to say, go and interview this person.
The second line on the same paragraph that we are reading, it says, this statement must be completed every time the suspect is interviewed, irrespective of whether the suspect has been arrested or not. The same paragraph.
Yes, but my lord, it is a flow of information. Counsel wants to select. You start in one. That's why they tell you that before you get to number 2, these are the directives. There must be a combination between NPA and the police. Then you flow going down. That's why it tells you, even if you have to interview this person 10 times, as long as there's a directive by NPA, then you document it. In my situation, there was no directive by NPA. So, and I did indicate, my lord, that it's a warning form, which is not the only form where warning statements are taken.
Yeah, Mr. Gininda is a senior member of the SAPS. You have given the information to the defense, but the information given to the defense cannot just testify for itself. You are here to testify.
No, but I testified about it. I led this evidence in my evidence in chief, my lord, and Mr. Mgomuzili asked me about it. So I'm repeating myself over and over again on what I was asked by the defense counsel for 1 and 2. It's a repetition of what was put to me by Mr. Mgomuzili after I led this evidence in chief. If I recall, my lord, there was even a time where the court ordered that all defense counsel must actually peruse the diary physically before copies were made. Subsequent to that, because I was dealing with that part in my evidence in chief, I dealt with it with Mr. Mgomezulu. Now I'm repeating the same thing. So it's not the first time I'm saying this, my lord.
Was it your first time to see or to meet with Mr. Mjiako on that day?
Yes, it was. I didn't know him from time immemorial. That was the first time for me, my lord, to see him.
Brigadier, you'll answer this question if you know. Do you know that Mjiako has been a member of the SAPS up until 2017?
No,
2016, sorry.
No, I wouldn't know, my lord.
You don't know that?
No, I wouldn't know. We didn't discuss that. And we are not acquaintances, and I never worked with him. If he was in the police, I certainly didn't come across him or interacted with him in any matter for that matter.
And in this matter, when you were in... Sorry.
You may proceed.
Okay. In this matter, when you were investigating this matter, you testified that you were working with the Crime Intelligence Unit. Am I correct?
I said it was crime intelligence driven operation. So there was intelligence gathering that was present. That's correct, my lord.
Mjiako was working in the unit of Crime Intelligence Unit. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know, my lord. As I said, and I'm repeating it without fear of contradiction, my lord, I've never worked with him. If he was in the police, I've never come across him. That was my first time, my lord.
As a court case, my lord, my learned friend is putting it as a fact. I don't know what the basis of, putting it so strongly or elevating this to a fact that Mr. Mjiako worked for crime intelligence. If my learned friend can perhaps lay the basis for that submission.
Thank you, my lord. Can I proceed to the next question, my lord? Lastly, Brigadier, have you ever been accused in your years of service? Have you ever been accused of forcing people to confess and to make statements?
Please, my lord, we submit that question is inadmissible. It's character evidence, and
that's the court business, my lord. Those are my submissions. Thank you.
Any re-exam?
Indeed, my lord.
This moment wasn't just about Brigadier Gininda. It was about the position Ntanzi was pushed into. and the consequences that followed. Gininda told court that Ntanzi chose not to remain silent and agreed to speak without a lawyer. On paper, that sounds voluntary. In reality, it raises a brutal question. What kind of choice was Ntanzi actually given? When a senior police officer presents silence as an option, while continuing the engagement anyway, the power is already skewed. One man has a badge, authority, and a case to build. The other is isolated, under pressure, and facing the full weight of the state. Ntanzi wasn't choosing freely between equals. He was navigating a coercive environment where refusing to speak came with invisible consequences. That's why Advocate Mshololo asked the question that cut through the narrative: whether Gininda had ever been accused of beating suspects or forcing confessions in his career. Because if such accusations exist, then Ntanzi's choice becomes something else entirely, a survival response rather than a voluntary decision. And that is precisely why Advocate Baloyi intervened so fast. That question didn't just threaten Gininda's credibility, it threatened the foundation of how Ntanzi's words were obtained. If Ntanzi spoke because the structure around him made silence impossible, then everything that followed is compromised. And when a court is prevented from hearing that history, the silence doesn't protect justice. It protects power. At the end of the day, this wasn't about procedure. It was about Ntanzi, a man alone, facing authority, told he had a choice while standing in a space where silence didn't feel safe. When power speaks and the room closes in, survival makes the decision, not freedom. That's the part the court must never ignore. If the question was harmless, why was the answer stopped? When a suspect speaks without a lawyer under pressure, can that choice ever be truly voluntary? Was the objection about legal rules, or about what the answer might reveal? Thank you to everyone who watched, listened, and engaged thoughtfully. Your support, your comments, and your patience in unpacking these moments matter. If you value careful analysis and honest discussion around justice, I appreciate you being here. I'm Skybriedge. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.